Thank you so much for joining me today, Julia. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you, Brian, for inviting me.
We are so excited to talk about the upcoming season at Tipping Point. But before we get started in that, you had a busy summer at the theater.
We did. We did. We started we had our summer sessions, our second summer trying this out. So we had the Planet Ant home team, led by Tipping Point Theater favorite Dave Davies, and so Dave came and brought some of his members, and so they did three evenings of improv, kind of in the line of whose line is it anyway. So we had a lot of fun with that. We had one of our participants came yesterday to our season pass party, so we had a good laugh again over what happened. And
Oh,
then we
that's
also had Michelle Murphy brought her one-person show, Keeper, about her adventures at summer camp from years ago, Camp Dearborn. So that was exciting, and also because it was personal and had a lot to do with our patrons identified a lot with her experiences, um, and because it's a local reference, so all of that good stuff.
I was going to say they're very different shows. I got to attend both, and like Planet Ant, you're laughing and you're laughing and you're laughing. It's so much fun. The improv, I've never been to an improv show before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was super exciting. And then Michelle Murphy's show, Keeper, like you're part of it, you're laughing, but a lot of it, it's like therapy on the stage as you're
You
going
got
through
it.
that.
It takes a turn there, like real life.
Yes.
So yeah.
And then you just had your season 18 subscriber party as well. So,
We did. We did. We just yesterday from 4 to 8 p.m. we sent a big email blast out inviting everyone. And I mean, some people, what was different this year is that we put our season passes for sale earlier than the party. So a lot of times
okay.
people said they went ahead because they're looking for the best seats. So that happened. And then we also sold tickets um, we have a variety, as a selection. You can have a preview pass where you come to all of our previews, or you
Okay.
can do the standard season pass, which is you see one each production, and you get to choose when you want to come, what seats you would like, and all that throughout the season. Or we have the flex pass, which pretty much allows you to do anything. It's any configuration. If you want to buy one season pass and use it for all 5 tickets for one show, you can do that. And that is a benefit for, like, we had a gentleman who bought the season pass in particular because of wanted to use the tickets for family that was coming in town.
Oh,
So
that's
he
awesome.
bought 2 season passes that he always does, and then bought another one for family members because it's a discount, so that was a benefit to him having members come into town. So he had a nice event to take them to. So
And like, what a cool way to give a variation, because like sometimes when you have very strict season passes, it's really, sometimes things come up, life happens,
right.
and you're giving that little bit of variation. Like, we understand life happens and we still want you to come and enjoy the shows.
You know what? Life continues to happen no matter what you plan. And don't we know it?
Absolutely.
Don't we know it? So, yeah. And the other thing is, even if you have your tickets and dates already set and something does happen, you can always contact the box office and get that changed. So, depending on what's left. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But now, so the next season is quickly approaching. I mean, we're
Yes.
entering into September 17th is the opening for the first show. So
Yes. First preview.
how excited are you for that season?
We're super excited about it. There could not be a better time to open The Shark is Broken than now. It's the 50th anniversary of Jaws. And starting, I think it's, don't quote me on these dates, let's see, October 28th or 29th, starts a 2-week re-release of Jaws.
Yes.
So if you are a younger person and have never seen it, it's the opportunity to see it on the big screen. Or for those of us that have seen it many times, we'll go back. We could go back and see it. But the other opportunity is on, at least in the Livonia and Novi area, on at Imagine Theaters and someplace else. We're going to have it on. We're going to advertise on the big screen for The Shark is
Ooh,
Broken. So that's
that's
very
awesome.
exciting. So you can see the re-release and then say, I want to see what happened behind the scenes, and that is what our play is about.
Which
So,
is
it takes place in 1974 on the set on the Orca, the
okay.
boat, and it is Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, and Richard Dreyfuss on stage, and it's what goes on while Bruce, the mechanical shark, is broken. So it involves a lot of comic chaos, is what how I like to describe it. And some other, shared stories and male bonding and camaraderie and gambling and drinking and,
Right. All those
all of
different
that.
things.
All of that is in the play. But it's and the cool thing is we get to construct the orca on our small tipping point stage. Now I will admit the real orca is bigger than our stage. So we may need a bigger stage. So
We love a Jaws joke here.
it's going to
um,
continue for the next month. I know it. So,
so even taking a step back before we really dive into the shows is, you are when you plan a season, because you have to
oh,
plan
yeah.
this in advance.
Yes.
What's kind of your process for like choosing a season? I know that in a previous interview you mentioned that like last season was kind of the theme of family. Do you start with the
Mhm.
theme first and find shows to go with that, or?
No, I don't. I start
Okay.
with good plays first.
Okay.
That's what I do. I read a lot of plays throughout the year. Sometimes so much that I'm like, read that play, what, and then I'm like,
Hmm.
so I try and keep a list. And I have things that, I've got a lot of things under consideration. How many, actors? I mean, we at Tipping Point we're pretty small. We an eight members in a cast is very large for us. I mean, we've
Yes.
done it for the Squirrels, and we've done it. I know years ago I directed Importance of Being Earnest at Tipping Point. That has 8 actors in it, so we can do it, but we don't have much dressing room space, so we have to, and the cost of having more actors as well.
Sure.
So we have to always. We can only do that once in a season, if that. So
I was
that's
gonna say
always a
English was kind of that size, right?
English was 5.
Okay.
4 and 5 is a good number for us.
Okay.
And then also it was followed by a two-hander, meaning
Yes.
two actors. And so I have to balance it out like that. So I'm always looking for that. Can we afford to do this play? That's also. And people always say, "Oh, why aren't you doing musicals?" We would love to do musicals, but we have to always look at the cost. We can't help it. That's part of it. We have a
Sure.
budget, and so it's, can we do it with what we have? And things are tight as they are everywhere right now. Um, so, um, so that's always a consideration. And then, it's what I'm always looking for what our patrons might enjoy, but I'm always like, is it a good play?
Sure.
Is it a good play? Does it have everything in it? I I often will hear people, "Oh, we want comedies." Me too, but I want to make sure it's a really good play and that it's got a lot to offer in it. Um, Part of my mission is making sure that we find something that our audience recognizes or can identify with, but also I'm always looking to take our audience someplace new. I think
Mhm.
it's really important. And, it may be a cliched things by saying, oh, people don't know what they want until they see it. But it's kind of true. And I take that to heart. I feel that it's my job to introduce new material, not just, not just that, new voices,
Sure.
meaning the playwright, as well as new structures, a different play structure that they may not have seen, such as Lungs, which we did in our finished up the season with. So those considerations, I'm always looking for plays that I think are interesting. And that I think maybe our audiences may get something out of as well. So it a lot goes into it actually. And then you want to balance the season with having comedies, but also something has some drama in it. Um, Sometimes, some seasons, I like to put something that's got more of a classic bent to it, a play that we definitely has recognition. But some seasons, I don't have that. It just depends. But I'm always looking to make sure it's a well-rounded season, and that we have something for everyone.
You know,
It was
kind of going along those lines, you mentioned about recognizable. Like last season, you did Pretty Women.
Little
Which is
Women.
Little Women.
Yes,
Sorry, wrong musical.
Pretty
Little Women.
Woman, Little
Yeah,
Women.
yes.
Yes.
That a lot of people recognize that name, but
Hmm.
the ones that stuck with me were the ones I didn't know. Like Lungs.
Yes.
We just did a podcast, RJ and I, for Beetlejuice the musical, and part of the
Hmm.
story that we're talking about is how it was kind of reminded us of Lungs and how the message was, and that's the one that we talk about frequently. That one or English,
Isn't
those two really stuck.
Yes. Isn't that interesting? Well, and and you just brought up English. That was like our biggest seller last
Really?
season. And I didn't it was I knew it was a great play. It's 2023 Pulitzer Prize winner. I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to do it. I knew we hadn't had that voice, an Iranian voice on our stage, and I knew I wanted that. But I did not know, and look, people loved it. Loved that production. So there you are. So
They
that's what I
real
mean about we may not know what we want until it's
Absolutely.
in front of us. And so that's what I'm going to go with.
Well, I think that's a beautiful answer, and I think you're 100% right. Like, this is our
Mhm.
first season with Tipping Point, but truly the shows that like gobsmacked me were ones that I wouldn't even maybe have thought of
Mhm.
going to check out, because you have, like, when you go to Broadway, for those who don't know, English just closed on Broadway, and it
Mhm.
was up for a Tony, but like it may not be the one that people are going to because they're going for the big musicals or the names that they recognize, and
Right.
that story was absolutely incredible, and I'm glad that it did so well at Tipping Point because it deserved a lot of that recognition.
Thank you. And you hit it. It's about storytelling. And isn't that what we're looking for? Great storytelling. You know,
Absolutely.
a journey. We want to go on a journey when we go to the theater. Um, and I'm not devaluing the the need that we have to laugh right now. I
Sure.
totally get it. And I want to I want to include that. But I think we can do it all. I think we can find
Absolutely.
moments to laugh, we can find moments to cry, we can find moments to empathize, and moments where we're puzzled and we question. So I think it's all part of it.
And what I love about this year, and I'm guessing the theme is nostalgia because that's what's on the website. It's kind of circled. And I noticed I was like, you can get all of those different things. You can laugh, you can cry, but you feel
Mhm,
good in the end when you're thinking of simpler times. And right now, that's kind
mhm,
of what a lot of people need when you go to the theater. You want to,
right.
even if you're having an emotional reaction, something that reminds us of our past or something that felt good.
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up because, like I said, I was putting some things together, and that's the theme that emerged from it. So if that kind of helps you with the idea of where it goes, and that's kind of like what happens is that it, I, so yes, I started, we knew we got Jaws, we got Shark pretty quickly. I knew we were going to
Okay.
do that one. And then we also knew we were going to bring back A Very Northville Christmas. And because it's a spoof on Hallmark holiday movies, there's nostalgia right there. We all
1,000%.
have some reference point, right? And then there were a couple plays. There was one that I did not get the rights to that I was hoping for to fit in with that already. So went but still the play that I ended up choosing fit as well. So then it was like, okay, this is gonna all work. And then of course Gene and Gilda, that was part of our reading series last year, and that automatically fit in with it. Our last one was a little trickier in the sense because we had the rights for something and then it went to a bigger commercial production. So then I
Okay.
had to do a back pocket pick, I call. So I pulled it out of the back pocket and said, oh, I've always wanted to do this. I was going to think about it for the following season. So we ended up with The Revolutionists. Now it's 1793. So it's a little bit hard for us to pull um,
Sure.
direct references to what we remember about 1793. However, we've all seen Les Miserables, and that is referenced in the script as well, not by title, but It's in there. And it was such a wild, wacky, modern comedy set during the Reign of Terror in the French Revolution. So with four badass women who are there
Right.
to change the world during a time of extremist insanity. Um, and Marie Antoinette is the character that is most recognizable. At least people know something. They've heard that. So they know something about Marie Antoinette. So the play helps us kind of turn things up, and I love it because it 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 allows the playwright to take history and imagination and collide the two
Okay.
together. So that's what's really fun about it. And then I didn't mention the title of the one that I added was Brokology, and that was interesting to me because it takes place in 2008 during the economic crisis in our own country
Sure.
and in Kansas City, Kansas. And it's about a Black family that is struggling with some of the hardships during that time period. But it starts out, you also see flashbacks in the 1980s, and then it
Okay.
goes to 2008. So that also fit in with the
Sure.
nostalgic thing, with what we remember from the 80s and then, 2008. And I loved it because it's about this, it's familial love. It's a father and two sons, and one who goes off to get his PhD, and then the other one, stays around home. And so it's the struggle with the two brothers who's going to care for dad during his later years and all of this. So it's a love story. And that's why I loved it. But a
I,
different one than what we would expect.
I was gonna say you don't usually see like that kind of dynamic in a play necessarily, or like a
Yes.
stage production.
So it was a new voice. And the playwright is Nathan Lewis Jackson. And our director for that one is Jesse Boyd Williams, who also pitched the play to me. And I was like, I'm intrigued. So that's what happened. So, yeah.
So with The Shark is Broken, like when you got
hmm
that script, what automatically made it feel like this is a must do for us?
Well, in all honesty, it was I get sent plays all the time, new
Yeah.
titles that are out and available. And I kind of probably I did like a th- I bet our audience would love that. But then I didn't jump on it immediately. But
Okay.
then I know what it is. I ordered the script. I ordered the script early, as soon as it was available, just to see, but I hadn't read it yet. And Brian, our company manager, read it first. He said he was intrigued by it, and he said, "Oh, Jew, I'm going to read that." They called me Jew at the theater, so I'm going to read that. So he did, and he came back, take a look. So he read that one first, and usually it's the other way around. I'm reading it, and then I pass it on.
Sure.
So I read it, and I said, I was aware that the anniversary was coming up too, and I thought we didn't know exactly when things were going to hit, when it was going to, for the exact anniversary. So we were pleasantly surprised when it all kind of came together. But I thought, yeah, let's do this. Let's try this one. So that's what happened. It just sort of, something intrigues us, and then we jump on it.
Which I mean,
So,
I don't know much about the behind the scenes of Jaws, but from what I understand, it was like a very
oh,
difficult movie to make.
Oh, yes, and since that time, that documentary has come out, since the time when
Okay.
before I got the rights. So now we have lots of research. We have lots of things at our fingertips. There's Jaws everywhere right now, and that documentary is really interesting, if people haven't seen it. So that's out there as well. And then, of course, we found out they're re-releasing the film in big
Sure.
theaters. So, of course, these were all the little perks that just we were like, "Oh, this is perfect."
I mean,
So,
it's nice when you have the goods, like the story that you want to tell, and then also everything else just falls in line with that.
yeah. And isn't it interesting to know the backstory? This
Oh
is
yeah.
this is this is has a lot to do with where we are now. What's the backstory here? We're dealing a lot with in every day. And that's the other interesting thing about nostalgia. It has many benefits for us. I did my research on, nostalgia. What does it mean and all that? And it helps us with, boost our own memories, and it's a positive thing because
Sure.
it comforts us. It gives us a lot. I even wrote about it. I can't even remember everything I said about it, but at that particular time. Um, yeah, it's a positive emotion, social
Yeah.
connectedness, right? Improved mental health, stress relief. Those are all things that they attribute to this idea of nostalgia when it takes us back in a memory. But what was really important to me is that in producing a season that we talk about this, that we're not just remembering things from our past, but we're creating new memories. And I'm hoping that we do that at the theater, so it's not only based on the play you see, but that your experience at the theater is also a new memory. And that creates the next round of nostalgia. You can say, oh, I remember when we saw The Shark is Broken at Tipping Point Theater in 2025. I remember that. So,
I I was gonna say I when we were sitting there and because you give a little speech before the shows and you were talking about the
mhm.
season and when you mentioned this next one, A Very Northville Christmas, people were actually excitedly muttering like, "Oh, I remember we saw that a few years
Mhm.
ago." So like that also like what you're describing there connected right away that people
Yeah.
remember A Very Northville Christmas and are already excited about that again.
Oh, yes. Oh, they wanna it was so interesting because I heard along the way, they wanna see it. They're so happy to see it, they loved it, but they wanna know, are there gonna be some different things? Isn't that fun? So, I liked that message a lot that they were giving to me, and it is we've got a different cast this time around and a different director. Dave was in the cast last time, Dave Davies,
Okay.
and this time he's going to direct it, so
Oh,
we are
exciting.
confident he will bring some, you know, his own specific humor,
For sure.
to the show as well. So, our local audiences will appreciate that, and as I say, we poke fun at not only Hallmark holiday movies, but Northville, because that's what we do it with loads of humor and love. So that's the point, and we want businesses to get involved, and there's so much opportunity to be a part of the play, whether it's in advertising or you know, there's even small little roles that could happen, extras, as you will, within the play.
I was
So
gonna
there's
say it's the
possibilities.
perfect Northfield's like the perfect place for that because it's such a small little community, like especially that downtown area. Like it's just
Uh-huh.
so quaint and what a better way to kind of celebrate like the small town movie feel of a Hallmark movie.
Well, it's funny you should say that because Williamston, of course, it's written by Robert Hallmark, and Williamston did it first, a very Williamston Christmas. And my first season as artistic director, we had just closed. Not yeah, it was. We were actually doing "It's a Wonderful Life," a live radio play, and I was out with people after the performance or opening night or whatever night it was, and it was snowing and it was beautiful, and the town with the lights and the Christmas tree, and it all was so gorgeous. And someone who was with said, "This is like a Hallmark holiday movie." And shortly after that, I got the message from John Leopard at Williamston Theater asking me if we would be interested in a very Northville Christmas. And I went, oh my gosh, of course we would. so,
What a
so
perfect way to celebrate the holiday season.
Exactly. So then it happened the following season. So, and then we took a break, and obviously produced Little Women this year, and then are back this season with the very Northville Christmas. So we're excited.
But even with Little Women, like there was still like that Christmas. So I can only imagine how much is going to be enhanced with us. Like I'm so excited to see it at very Northville Christmas. I feel like that is.
Yes.
I mean, I'm somebody who every holiday season, my mom and I try to watch as many Hallmark Christmas films as we can. So like this fits into that nostalgia feeling of we've done this my entire life.
Exactly. And not just even what we remember visually, but the smell of Christmas. That's part of nostalgia. The sounds that we hear, or whatever holiday you celebrate. It's all part of it. The fest what we remember about the festivities and using all of our senses. So that's interesting, and people respond to that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And then when your next show would come, so we have Christmas, we have a very Northville Christmas, and then we go into Brokeology, which, you'd mentioned, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but
Hmm.
what's interesting about this one is it's like like almost like like a sadder or more serious side of nostalgia. You have the light
Yes.
Christmas, and then you have, you're talking about the 2008. Granted, I was only in high school, but like that was a tough time, especially for adults and
Yeah.
stuff. Of what
Hmm.
does life kind of look like? Um,
The unknown.
yes,
Yes. The uncertainty. And nostalgia, we think it is generally, as research says, that it's generally a positive emotion, but it also stirs up. We remember certain time periods. That is part of it as well. And I, wanted to include but even though may remember the troubled times during 2008 and that economic crisis, it's also um, still infused with positive things as well. And this play shows that, because even though it is about, the hardship and how are we going to get through this time period, the family love that comes out of that and the family support is what's really the most, well, the special part, right? I
for
mean,
sure.
I can't think of how I wanted to articulate that, but
Yeah.
it is. It's that's what sticks with us
During
is.
hard times, we tend to recenter towards what's important, and
Mhm.
family usually is one of those things that we come back to.
And didn't the pandemic do that? I know my daughter was sent home from college. My husband and I are both working, via Zoom. It was all very different, but and we knew people that died during the pandemic, my father included. So
So
there
sorry.
it was a grieving time. But I
Mhm.
also have to say, I it's also infused with all of those memories, such as the hikes that we did, and oh my gosh, we had family dinner every night.
Yeah.
So there was that sort of thing and I read a lot of books, and it's before I had this job, so I should have been reading more plays. So
It's funny you say that, because I was just talking to somebody else recently, and I said, for all of the horrible things that happened with the pandemic, there was so much that I almost miss now, because it's like you don't now we're kind of back to like you don't always have those family dinners, and you don't, Christmas felt even more special, and the holidays felt more special when you could get together, and um that there was such a like a family centered, like there was a love to that, even though
right,
the world was kind of falling apart.
right, right. Kind of hit it on the nose right there. Hmm. And yeah, and so I think it's nostalgia, but it's also that reflection of these times, and how we move forward after
For sure.
taking the moments to look at it. Yeah.
Which it kind of speaks to the next one too. We have
Hmm.
two more, and this one is kind of. I felt when you mentioned this one, I didn't even know that this was a play, but I was super excited because it's kind of got a hometown connection with it. The
Oh, yes,
Gilda,
it
Gina
does.
Gilda.
So, local playwright, also he's a New York playwright as well, Carrie Gitter. Um, Sent me this play, and I kind of knew immediately that we should do this play. I knew it. And so we did a reading of it, and as part of our In the Works series last February, we did it, and every seat was filled. We filled it up, and it was a free of charge reading, and it was with Kristen Shields and Kevin O'Callahan, and they were terrific. The audience loved it, and I knew we were doing this. I just knew and contacted, of course, Carrie and his agent, and put things in the works. So yeah, that one was we knew we were going to do this, and yes, in regard to Gilda Radner, she still has family members in the
Oh
area.
wow.
And so this was really important. We wanted to bring this. And so, and they are aware that we are doing this play. I also will add that the play just had an off Broadway run. It's running right now off Broadway.
Yes.
Um, and my daughter just saw it last, I don't know, a couple weeks ago and loved it. So We're pretty excited about that. And Kristen and Kevin are going to be spectacular. So that's great.
I heard too that it might be making it to on Broadway as well, like 'cause it's doing so well. So,
It might. I have no idea. I can't speak to that. I just want to get our production in.
but truly, like this, what a like a love story. I remember growing up, and of course, Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka, like that
Mhm.
was nostalgia right there. That was nostalgia for my mom growing up, you know.
Oh, yes.
But this was kind of like a love story that like we talked, like people would come back to the story of Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner, especially here in Michigan, and the things that he did after losing her from that
Hmm.
love, and
Yes.
um, so it's incredible to get a show like that.
Well, and it's, we think we know everything about them. No, we don't.
Right.
um, and this, of course, we're never going to know all about them, but this gives us, Carrie did a lot of research, pulled from many different sources. So it's not just research from one place. And so, I think it highlights their relationship and how each one um, worked, each one was a light for the other.
Yes.
They really were a team, and it shows, their highs, their lows. Obviously, it's a bittersweet love story because we know how it ends. But we get to know these two incredible people. And Gilda has a quote in there, and I'm not gonna. I'm sure I'm not gonna have the exact quote, but it's along the lines that where she says, "Jeannie, we are comics. This is what we have to offer the world. This is
Sure.
us, and that's what we do."
So
Yeah,
beautiful.
they're still offering it. How about that? It's
Abs-
so that's where we get it. Mhm.
And again, I think it's one of those things that's always like I haven't seen the old SNL episodes. I grew up with the Amy Poehler era, but like people
Mhm.
still talk about her, you know, so like again, feeding into the nostalgia on both sides of this love
Oh,
story.
yes, and all of those Gilda characters
They
will
make it
make an
in.
appearance in the play.
That's kind
So
of
that's
incredible.
yeah. It's a wild ride with that, yeah, and Kristen's gonna do a great job with it, so we're excited.
And then of course we're closing out with Revolutionist, which you mentioned, four badass women, and who needs anything else other than that to close out a season?
And those aren't my words, those are the playwright's words, and so that's intriguing too. 4 badass women, I'm there.
Absolutely,
So
sign me up.
yeah, sign me up. So, yeah, we're super excited, and that is directed. Did I want to make sure I mentioned all the directors. Did I? Um,
um, did you
uh,
mention? I don't know if you said
oh,
who's directing The Shark Is
yeah,
Broken.
okay. Bill Simmons, who directed Halftime with Don with us last season,
Okay,
is directing The Shark is Broken. Dave Davies directs A Very Northville Christmas. Um, um, what's next? Brocology, I mentioned Jesse Boyd Williams. Gene and Gilda is going to be in house. So it will either be Brian or myself, maybe together, who knows? So we're still, we're still kind of contemplating that one and about time and all of that. So,
sure.
and then Revolutionist is Michael Luberis, who was the artistic director up at Flint Rap and who is in
Oh
New York
wow.
right now. And so he's going to come back and direct The Revolutionist for us. So we're super excited there.
You have such an incredible season coming up for the
Yeah,
Tipping Point Theater. We truly are so excited, and I think that so are audiences as well. Like you have some incredible shows.
good. I'm thank you for sharing your opinion on that because it really does mean a lot. I think it's pretty incredible too. And I think we're getting a lot of good buzz. Um especially in a time when, right now it's all about staying alive. Um,
Sure,
and I hope that not only do we continue to grow and engage our audiences, but that there's also that we don't stay in one spot. That we continue to move forward with our selection and what we're doing, to kind of encourage um, new audiences as well. So it's really important. So that's what I mean about something for everyone. It's hard to do, but we got to do it.
you know, quite a few different theaters that we work with that we've talked to recently as well. a lot of them have that thing of that story of how do we bring in younger
Yes.
crowds? Like,
Hmm.
how do we get them involved? How do we make them want to come and try out for a show? How do we get them to want to come and see a show? And that seems to be a really big struggle right now of getting those younger audiences in.
Because we have this instead,
Yep.
right?
Right.
And I think it's happening. I think that
Agreed.
it really is because we all crave the human experience, that social connectedness that you can't really. This isn't always real,
Yeah.
This is whatever we want to. When you are together in a room, that's a different thing. I know during. I mean, I couldn't wait to go someplace, as we all felt after spending the 2 years at home during COVID.
Absolutely.
And I think people still feel that it's necessary. We want to commune. We
For
want
sure.
to get together, and there's nothing like that. We can continue, and I'm not knocking, our our phones at all, our smartphones and their ability. I use it a lot, so I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying we need the additional connectedness because we can't get it from that.
And plus
So,
studies have shown the amount of anxiety that does come from a phone and the power of turning it off even just for 2 hours
oh
and
yeah.
getting to be present, that is super important.
Yes, it really is. It really is. I
Yes.
and I think the discussion that it's not only what you see um on stage, it's your moments before as you commune with people as they're walking into the theater and then afterwards, even if you go someplace and talk about the play
Yeah.
and what it encourages, all of that is so powerful and so important and so fun. It's fun.
Abs- Absolutely.
If there's nothing else, it's fun to go someplace and see something, and you don't know what you're gonna see. Who knows
Absolutely.
where taking that chance is really, what I'm hoping for. And I'm glad because yesterday at our season pass party, I saw lots of elements of that, and that was exciting. People were excited. They were like, "Oh, I can't wait for,
Yes.
to congregate, and we're gonna bring friends, and we're gonna make this part of our, you know it's part of our season too. Your season is
Yes.
part of our season." So, you know,
That being
yeah.
said, then before I let you go, where can people get tickets, either season tickets or individual tickets? Where can they go to get those?
Oh, many places. On the website, super easy, www.tippingpointtheater.com. It is Tipping Point, then T, so two T's together in a row, and then ends RE.com. So you can just click on buy tickets. You can find everything
Perfect.
there. You can always call Savannah, and Elise is there too, and our volunteers at the box office, 248. Do you believe me? I'm looking at the phone number just to make sure I don't get it wrong. 347-0003. And the box office is open Wednesday through Friday from 11:30 to 4:30, but you can call anytime and they'll get back to you.
And
Um,
they're so nice.
they're great. They take care of you.
They
So
do.
that's really great. So yes, you can call anytime. So those are the two ways, or you can pop in during box office hours if you really want to, look at that and look at the stage and make sure you've got the right tickets and all that. You can do that. So you can pop into the theater as well. Um, yeah, I think
Perfect.
that's it. Am I leaving anything out?
Sounds
Website?
about right.
Yeah, yeah, sounds about right. So super easy to get tickets. And the season passes, I should mention this, are a discount. I
Okay.
think it's just under 25%, it's like 24% off. But it's like $7 off a ticket. So it's
Oh, okay.
considerable if you buy the season pass and the flex pass in whatever configuration. As I said, doesn't matter how you use that, but those are only good through the end of The Shark is Broken, so you no
Okay.
longer can get a season pass after October 12th.
Perfect. So if
So
you want a
that's
season
important.
pass, you got to get it now.
Yes. Yes, you do. And take advantage of that because, uh, we still have discounts for seniors and military, and student rates, as well. But there's no extra discounts on top of the season pass one. So if you want to, see a show at least 5 times, you should get the season pass. Or if, like you said, you're. So there's possibilities of ways to do that. Did I mention that someone came and bought 5 tickets because they had people coming into
Yeah,
town? Yeah. So there's that works. You can do it that way. You're purchasing the tickets. You can use them how you wish.
that is
So
incredible. So get your season passes, come to Tipping Point
now,
Theater and see these incredible shows.
yes.
Uh, thank you so much for your time, Julia. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you, Brian. You are always a joy to talk with. So thank you so much.